Cher records and the motor trade. If I could turn back time, it's my favourite record by Cher, and judging by the reaction of the 6,000 sailors serving on the USS Missouri, they seemed to really like it too. Tramps and Thieves is another Cher record and was also equally catchy. But every time I hear it, I'm reminded of the money the aforementioned have cost me over the years in the motor trade. I have such a downer on them that if I was a sailor on board the USS Missouri and I hadn't been ashore for 10 years, if Shaw came on deck dressed as a scantily clad, I'd take the risk of being keel-hauled by my fellow crew members and throw her overboard. And so begins part 2 of my traveller's tales. Yet again, I'd arrived at work on Monday morning to find a naked mannequin in the corner of the showroom. The rally jacket, which had been adorning it, had been stolen. The same tactics had been used over and over again by a group of lads. They would come in, one would distract the salesman, whilst the other one would make off with the rally jacket from the display in the showroom. I was the sales manager and I'd been in the showroom on my own one day. It was all I could do to try and be civil to them, so it really didn't bother me if they were upset by my actions. Faced with the choice of going round the corner, the showroom was L-shaped, and leaving the mannequin unprotected, I picked it up and carried the rally jacketed mannequin under my arm whilst talking to them. One of them asked me what I was doing, and I told him that I was fed up of selling cars and I was training to be a ventriloquist. I just hoped that Mercedes-Benz hadn't taken to employing Romany mystery shoppers, as I would have a lot of explaining to do when they dissected the video in the training room. The jackets retailed at £65 and the thefts were costing my department a fortune. All the salesmen were on commission for selling accessories, so it was important to have a good display. But I had to do something to stop it happening again. I returned from a trip to Halfords with a bicycle lock big enough to secure the Queen Mary. Threading the lock through the arms of the rally jacket and then through the mannequin, I stood back and admired my work. Let's see you nick that now. When I came in the next morning, both the jacket and the mannequin were gone. Either the thief really wanted a new jacket, or he had ambitions of becoming a ventriloquist too. I shouldn't have been surprised at their resourcefulness, as on another previous occasion, I'd gotten to work and discovered that our steel reinforced gates had been completely removed. The hardened steel insurance approved security padlock was still firmly in place, but not so for the 4 2-inch thick mild steel bars that the gates were hinged on. They'd been sawn through. That must have taken a long time and some tremendous effort to do, as the pile of broken hacksaw blades on the floor would testify. In those days, car radio theft had reached epidemic proportions, so we used to take them all out. We'd even started to remove the rear speakers from the part exchanges till the cars were sold, as they were being jemmied out of the doors and parcel shelves, leaving hundreds of pounds of damage to the cars for a piece of audio equipment that you would be lucky to get a fiver for in the pub. We were even leaving the cars open in the compound so that we wouldn't have to replace a window when the thieves broke in. Occasionally, windows were still smashed by thieves who were too stupid to try the door handle or were miffed at finding there was nothing inside to steal. That day, the good news was that there seemed to be no damage to the 4 or 5 cars that had been moved out of the lineup, and nothing was missing as far as I could see. I was, however, momentarily baffled by the big gouge right up the centre of the concrete ramp that led out of our compound. It wasn't long before I found out that the gouge had been caused by the towing hook on the caravan which had been stolen from next door. They'd also cut through the fence between our compound and the caravan sales pitch next door. The front entrance of the caravans was on the main road and had been heavily fortified over the years, as they had been consistently targeted by thieves, every time finding new and improved ways of trying to put the caravan lads out of business. Cars weren't so easy to pinch and dispose of, and weren't a favourite for them, as a family couldn't live in a car. Our compound was secure, and the thieves had obviously realised this during their reconnaissance. To make it worth their while, they'd hatched a plan to steal several caravans at once. Their escape would be made covertly through the back of our garage. A procession of caravans were all lined up, just ready to hitch to a car and drive off into the night. It would seem even robbers had their off days. Their plan was fatally flawed, and our ramp was too steep to get a caravan up easily. The van or the tow bar had grounded out. Undeterred and determined not to leave empty-handed, they had carried on, but they must have been afraid that the noise had woken the neighbours up, so they scarpered, having stolen just one. The travelling show was stopped 100 miles away, just outside Birmingham, when an eagle-eyed policeman called at the service station for his nightly comfort break and caffeine injection. His suspicions were aroused when he noticed that the number plate on the beautiful caravan was off a nearly new car, and it didn't correspond to the one on the back of the rotten old scrap-laden pickup that it was attached to. A quick P&C by the officer and a call to the owner of the car registration, and it was revealed that the van should have been locked up in Preston. The suspected thief's story of buying it from a guy in a pub was beginning to look a little shaky, and he was arrested. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.